Hello again, everybody. Welcome inside the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas. This is BowlTV Live. I'm Matt Lawson, alongside USBC Director of Coaching Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. We take a little bit of time here once a week to kind of catch you up on the happenings here at USBC. Always some interesting programs in the works, and we also want to get you coached up a little bit, hopefully make you a better bowler by the time you're done. And we want to hear from you. This is very important. We have Carolyn Dorin-Ballard right here. So if you want to check on your Facebook, your Twitter, you folks watching us on YouTube, get on there and come up with some questions for Carolyn. Some of the segments that we're going to do, you can ask questions about that, and we will read some of those live here as we go along. We're going to start today with a little bit of coaching. I can tell you, every time I talk to you guys, every time I do anything with coaches, they always say you're never going to get to a great finish if you don't have a great start.
Absolutely, and it's all about the fundamentals, and we've talked about that over the last couple of weeks. But really, having a good start, being comfortable, distributing your weight evenly, it's going to get you in really good position to make the best approach you can.
Yeah, it starts even before you take that first step. So we're going to go down to the International Training and Research Center. Assistant Coach Brian O'Keefe is down there. He's got a little bit of an interesting angle on what you should be doing before you even get going with just simply your posture.
Hi, I'm Brian O'Keefe, Assistant Coach of Team USA and Assistant Coach of the International Training and Research Center. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about the importance of posture and how it can improve your physical game. Not only can better posture give you increased leverage and balance at the finish position, but really the most important aspect of posture we're going to talk about is allowing that posture to stay the same regardless of where it is throughout your approach. What we tend to see a lot with players is that as they start to enter their slide and as the ball gets to the top of their backswing, what ends up happening is their posture increases from the waist, too much waist bend, and therefore it increases the steepness of their swing. What we really want to make sure that we do is that as the ball gets to the top of our swing, that our upper body posture remains constant and that we drive with our legs, keeping our spine tilt the same as we enter the foul line. Like I said, this will not only improve your balance, but it will really increase your leverage and give your ball more power as it enters the pin.
Brian gave you some really good tips on how to keep your body and your head steady throughout your approach to give you the best possible finish you can achieve. I'm going to give you just a few tips that you can do in the beginning of that stance or your posture to make you the most comfortable and the most relaxed. You want to bend your knees just a little bit, and that's because you want to take some pressure off your lower back. We want to be as relaxed and use the least amount of muscle as possible. Put the body weight on the balls of your foot, not too much on the toes, not too much on the heels. You want it distributed evenly to give you that good balanced feel. Your shoulders bent very slightly at the waist so that your upper body as one part is just a little forward to give you that momentum to the line. Follow all the other tips that Brian gave you to keep that body and that head steady, and you're going to get the best finish you can achieve.
Yeah, and like we said, this is a part of the show where we really do want to hear from you. We're sure that you have questions about this. It might seem like an easy thing, how to start, but so many people do it wrong that it's a good time to ask questions. So we're going to check in with Lucas Wiseman. Lucas, questions on this posture segment for Carolyn.
Yeah, guys, we've got quite a few questions rolling in. One comes from Facebook. It's from Eugene Fossmeyer III. Carolyn, he wants to know if it's better to hold the ball closer to your chest, waist, or in between during the setup.
I don't think there's a really right or wrong. I mean, there are some areas that could probably cause you a little bit of a problem. As Brian had touched on, you want to be as comfortable as possible so you don't change your natural swing. I would say in your setup, what you want to do is hold it near waist high, depending on obviously how tall or short you are, about waist high, and the rule of thumb is between that shoulder and chin area. You don't want to be too far in, changes your swing alignment. Don't want to be too far out and away from your body, changes your swing alignment. Fit your body in your posture when you're starting to what you normally do and find that comfortable spot. There is no perfect spot, but there are areas in where you can definitely enhance your approach.
Yeah, and those of you watching us on YouTube, it's youtube.com/BowlTV. If you're already there, the little subscribe button in the upper left-hand side of your screen is a great little button for you to hit, because once you subscribe to the channel, you're going to find out first when we're posting new videos, when we have these shows once a week, when we've got live streaming events in progress. We're out all over the country with all sorts of live events, and I think there's a couple more questions coming in. Lucas?
Yeah, we do. It comes from Kendall Layson, another fan of ours on Facebook. Carolyn, Kendall wants to know, bend the knee or not at the setup?
I actually touched on that a little bit. I really like bending your knees just a little bit. I'm not saying you have to be really squatted down, because don't forget, if you watch all the best bowlers in the world and our Team USA bowlers, they are steady as they go all the way to the foul line. They don't veer off that beaten path. You don't see this to the foul line. You see a nice progression to that foul line and to the release. Starting with a little bit of bend in your knee will take that pressure off your body, get you a little more relaxed, and get you a little more into that athletic pose where you want to be to start your approach.
Let's go to another coaching topic now. We want to talk a little bit about washouts. So, okay, the first shot didn't go very well. Fine, it happens to all of us from time to time.
Well, not really.
Well, okay, well, it happens to a lot of us. It doesn't happen to the best of the best. But it turns out that a lot of people go about this entirely the wrong way when they've got the washout in front of them and they're trying to convert. We're going to go downstairs again. Kim Terrell-Kearney, assistant head coach for Team USA. She says that perhaps the best way to go about it is to leave that strike ball on the rack.
Hi, I'm Kim Terrell-Kearney, assistant coach for Team USA in the International Training and Research Center. Washouts are always tough, and for many years we taught stand over to the right, use your strike ball, and shoot it cross alley. Now we have a much better way to do it. Brian's going to move further left on the lane, get parallel to the 1-2-4. This way he increases his surface contact with the head pin. It gets horizontal, increases his chances of knocking over that 10 pin dramatically. So remember, leave that strike ball on the rack. Use your spare ball, move further left, get parallel with that 1-2-4, better odds, better angle. You'll be picking them up in no time.
Sparing the washout, it's going to take a little bit of practice, so don't get frustrated, especially if you've been shooting it, even with the spare ball, from right to left for right-handed bowlers. We have found, though, as we've tracked Team USA bowlers, as they make the washout, we've made it more from the left side, going more towards that 1-2 pocket and going this way towards it than we did from the right-hand side. As you can see from the video, Brian stood to the left of the approach, lined his shoulder and his ball up with about the 25 board to go straight at that 1-2 pocket. Give yourself a chance, try this when you're practicing, not in league, and give yourself a better option of making the washout.
All right, Lucas, seems like we mostly covered washouts here. So we've got a little something extra, maybe a wild card question for Carolyn?
Sure, we've got all kinds of questions coming in, and Connor Taylor says, Carolyn, when do you think is it appropriate or needed to use a wrist brace, and should it always be on or should it be taken off between shots?
Well, there's always been a lot of discussion on wrist devices, and I don't want to say it's wrong or right to use a wrist device, but I am going to give you some areas of where we have found some research. A wrist device should basically be used as a training tool. What happens is, when you use a wrist device, if you continue to use the device and don't practice without it, it's like anything. You lose that muscle memory of getting the strength in your wrist and hand area without the device. You want to do both. Practice without your wrist device. See what you can do, see how your wrist and hand feel, and see what you can incorporate into your game. If you feel that you're a little too weak, or your coach tells you that you're bending your wrist back, you're not really firm, put the wrist device back on just to train your muscles and train yourself how to create a feel for having that strong wrist and strong hand throughout your release.
Let's talk a little bit about coaching. When you took over as director of coaching, you made it clear that the point of the coaching department isn't to actually be out on the lanes, it's to get people ready to go out on the lanes and coach other people. It's basically to coach the coaches. And recertification, certification of new coaches has been a huge push for you since you've come in here. Why is that so important?
Right. There was a misconception. We're the USBC Coaching Certification and Development. We develop the programs for these coaches to have so they can coach to the best of their ability when they are on the lanes with their bowlers. The ITRC is where everybody's supposed to come to get the best coaches in the world to help them with their game. So we have a lot of programs out there, and there's a program for everybody. We have 4 levels of coaching. Level 1 for our volunteers to teach you the basics. Now, basically, the USA Bowling program, which is a great program that teaches you the basics and fundamentals of bowling. The bronze level, silver, and all the way up to gold.
Yeah, and we had a pretty big moment this month with gold level coaches. It's a pretty elite group. And just, 2-3 weeks ago, we added 2 more names to a pretty short list. Let's take a look. It's the most exclusive club in the world of bowling coaches.
You see him transition, you see him roll through the back.
Only 14 people worldwide can claim to be current USBC certified gold coaches, and no wonder.
The reason there's so few gold coaches is because it is the masters of our coaching. We're looking for everything. We're looking that they have a good understanding of all the different aspects of the game. We're looking at they have to be very deep into ball motion, they have to be very deep into ball fitting, coaching, techniques and everything, creating teams. Any question that you should be able to come up with a bowling as relates to a player should be able to be answered and rectified by a gold coach.
Now you can add 2 more names to that elite list.
If you're not careful enough with your ball reaction on short, you're going to start to overthrow.
Joe Slowinski and Hank Boomershine have reached the top of the coaching mountain, and they know just how tough the climb is to get here.
I think the process is challenging, but the wealth of knowledge that you need at this stage in the last 10 to 15 years, the explosion of knowledge to truly understand the sport at the highest level is amazing. So it's a lifelong journey to understand and continue to further what you know, and most importantly to help players.
There's so much knowledge that comes to the table. There's coaches that are great physical coaches, there's coaches that are great equipment coaches, there's coaches that are great mental coaches. I think it's a conglomeration of all that gets us to this point.
USBC wants to increase the quality of the coaching available, not just here at home, but around the world. And the Gold Coaching Program is the perfect place to make those strides.
Especially if we're going to go international, there's a lot of countries out there. I know I'm coaching one of the coaches that has been around the world, and we don't have enough coaches to do that, to help other countries progress in our sport.
And now that these two newest ambassadors have passed the test, the journey here seems that much sweeter.
It means a lot. It means that all the hard work and effort that you put in over the time, and those nights of leaving the bowling center at 2 o'clock in the morning and getting up and being there for tournaments and everything else, it's the pinnacle. It all pays off. It's worth it in the end.
It's just recognizing what you do. We're 70-hour weeks, working all the time, helping players from all around the world. I look forward to continuing to learn. And I think this to me was a learning process, and the recognition's important, but most importantly I think it's recognizing that you will continue to grow and learn, especially to maintain your gold status.
To learn more about how you can become a USBC certified coach, go to bowl.com/coaching. I'm Matt Lawson for BowlTV.
I would like to personally congratulate Hank Boomershine and Joe Slowinski. I just want to tell you how hard it is to achieve gold status. These are the elite coaches in the world, and right now we only have 16. We do have some gold coaches going under recertification, so we will be adding to that list in the future months. But Hank and Joe took a lot of time to become a gold coach. It takes sometimes 2 to 3 years to complete all the domains necessary to achieve that highest level of coaching. So it's not something everybody should take lightly, but what they can take lightly is that these coaches really know the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It was cool to be down there and be a part of that. I mean, it really is. I mean, from start to finish, every possible facet of the game you can imagine they're being tested on. It was pretty amazing stuff. Let's go to Lucas for one last question. And also, I understand there is a live streaming event coming up very soon.
Yeah, that's right, Matt. I will actually be traveling out to Las Vegas on Saturday. We'll have live coverage on bowl.com of the Collegiate Shootout, December 18th and 19th, December 20th and 21st, the Glenn Carlson Las Vegas Invitational. So be sure to tune in for some great college bowling action. And then the first week of January, we'll be out at the USBC Team USA Trials. Of course, entry information available for the Team USA Trials on bowl.com/Team USA Trials. And one last question for Carolyn before we call it a day here. It comes from our YouTube chat, and Chinglish Girl says, my coach always picks out that I twist my body. What would be the best thing to stop me doing that as it throws me off so much? A good question.
Very good question. Now, I haven't seen you bowl, obviously, and I don't know exactly where you're twisting your body, but let me give you some tips that may help you with your approach. When you get into that setup or that posture, that good athletic stance that we talked about today, you want to make sure that you're comfortable and take note of where your position is all the way from your head down to your feet. In other words, make sure that ball is where you normally have it, waist high. Don't dip the shoulder over too much. Make sure it's in a comfortable position, right or left-handed, depending on what you are, and just dip that shoulder a little bit, bend the knees, get comfortable, make sure that chin stays up so that you're aiming towards your target or where you want to get that ball out on the lane. Try to keep that position all the way through your approach. You're going to have to take note. Make sure you're not following the ball or chasing it like some people want to say. When that arm gets into that swing, you don't want to go with it. The swing is supposed to be by itself, smooth and natural. The more natural you are, the less muscle you use. Your body has a tendency not to want to move and just go towards its target. So take that advice, see if that helps you without the twisting, and don't forget, use your knee and bend at the line for that leverage to keep you steady and secure at the line.
Perfect, great stuff. I hope that we've helped a couple of people out. Even if we just added a couple of pins here and there, we'll take it every time. We want to thank all of you at home for watching, and especially thank you if you are joining in with your questions and comments on Facebook, on youtube.com/BowlTV. And we, of course, want to thank Lucas Wiseman and Jason Overstreet for all the work they're doing on the show. Thanks to Carolyn, as always, for being here with us. And until next week, keep on rolling.